Assalamu alaikum fam, welcome back. So we're on St. Thomas Aquinas' Summa Theologica, very serious book for scholars, serious theologians. We're in the 4th article, and it is whether sacred doctrine is a practical science. We proceed thus to the 4th article. Okay, so objection 1 is what someone is posing to him, remember? It seems that sacred doctrine is a practical science, for practical science is that which ends in action, according to the philosopher, Metaphysics 2, but sacred doctrine is ordained to action. Okay, look at that. So, practical science ending in action. You follow? And the action, according to the philosopher, he contends, and the metaphysics, right? But sacred doctrine is ordained to action. Be ye doers of the word and not hearers only. Therefore, sacred doctrine is a practical science. So they contend the action is embedded in saying that it is practical. Okay, so we'll go down to his his reply over here. Oh, actually, let's do it this way. We'll read objection 2 and then we'll see. He'll do on the contrary, right? Further, sacred doctrine is divided into the old and the new law, but law implies a moral science, which is a practical science. Therefore, sacred doctrine is a practical science. So this is what someone has said to him, right? So look at that. So the person is telling him, because sacred doctrine is divided into the old and the new, and that the law, because it is law, therefore it's moral science, because remember, ethics, in order to do law, that's why a lot of people who go into law study philosophy and it's, ethics and such. So that's why he thinks it's a moral science, is because it has the old and the new law, right? On the contrary, Aquinas says, every practical science is concerned with human operations, as moral science is concerned with human acts. So look at that. So practical science, he contends, is all related to human operations. So remember how he used the law, and that the law, because it's related to action and such, is practical? But he's saying here, Aquinas, to the rebuttal to that guy, well, there's a lot of operations that deal with human acts. So, let's see. And architecture with buildings. But sacred doctrine is chiefly concerned with God, whose handiwork is especially man. Therefore, it is not a practical but speculative science. Aha. So, he contends that, Aquinas says, it is a speculative science and not a practical science. So we got the contrarian is saying practical science, and Aquinas is answering as no, it is actually speculative, right? I answer that, he's saying, sacred doctrine, being one, extends to things which belong to different philosophical sciences, because it considers in each the same format aspect. Okay, so the same format aspect. Namely, so far as they can be known through divine revelation. So known through divine revelation, not solely dependent on human reason, you follow? Hence, although among the philosophical sciences one is speculative, another practical, nevertheless sacred doctrine includes both. Okay, so he does contend that sacred doctrine does have practical ends, but also more speculative as well. As God by one and the same science knows both himself and his works. That's pretty interesting how he put that. All right. Still, it is speculative rather than practical, because it is more concerned with divine things than with human acts. Aha. So, why is it more of a spectacle? A speculative field? It's because it's of the divine, and God is of the divine, and if it's divine, you have to have faith for certain things because that will go beyond human reason, whereas something practical is more based within human reason because it deals with human operations more openly and distinctly. That can be seen, you follow? Though it does treat even of these latter, inasmuch as man is ordained by them to the perfect knowledge of God, in which consists eternal bliss. So the perfect knowledge of God, eternal bliss, this is sufficient answer to the objections. So more of a speculative, even though it does have both elements in it, right? So the sacred doctrine has both, right? So it's not just a practical science. You see? You follow? So that is what he contends. Quite interesting the way he words that. And I hope you learned something.